Morning everybody, it's Dr. Steve, another episode of Core Wellness TV. Today I'm taking a nice brisk walk at Perrin Park in Jeffersonville, Indiana, which I normally do, but I haven't been doing for a while. I've let stress and the pace of life kind of get to me, so today I'm making a commitment to get back on track with my morning workouts, and I challenge you to do the same, okay? Why don't you come along with me today? We're going to talk about a few things. Today is to this week, the 17th through whatever it is National Chiropractic Week, and being a chiropractor by trade, I'm so grateful for the wonderful profession. I'm going to share a few things about it and how it can help you. And I'm going to give you a tip at the end on how to walk more effectively so you can keep on walking as long as you want to walk without straining and spraining joints and muscles and ligaments and stuff like that. All right? So, be back in a second. So I'm going to continue my workout as we continue to talk about this. Chiropractic, the first thing it does for you is keeps your body moving. If your body's not moving, it's decaying. Get it? If your joints don't move, you're getting robbed of afferents and that incoming input into your body that tells your nervous system that everything's okay. And your nervous system needs movement to be balanced. It needs to keep moving because the bottom line is, if you're moving, they can't throw dirt on you. And if you're moving functionally, your nervous system is going to be much calmer, much happier, and it's going to be a better interpreter of the universe, meaning you're going to experience life more fully. Got it? Got it. And the other cool thing about chiropractic is when you get those stuck joints moving, it blocks pain. It improves coordination to your brain and relaxes tight muscles. So those are lots of bonuses. Think about it. If you ever, I'll go back up here so I stay on the camera. These are parallel bars. This is a great exercise. Wear you out. Whenever you get joints moving again that have been stuck, not only do those stuck joints act like a hinge, if they don't move for a while, they don't get nutrition into them and they start to rust. When joints rust, that's arthritis. You got to keep it moving, okay? And when you keep those joints moving, it blocks pain, especially if you get them moving functionally, meaning they're lined up perfectly, they're stacked up right on top of each other like they're supposed to, and that's all about core stability, and that's all about keeping your core tight and keeping that intention of bracing and breathing and always pushing away from your support points, keeping that organic posture on. That's what kind of keeps everything lined up like it's supposed to be. So, blocks pain, relaxes tight muscles, improves coordination to the brain. Got it? Got it. One more thing. I talked about a second ago that it makes you a livelier taster, or excuse me, a better interpreter of the universe. Actually, it makes you a livelier taster of the universe. Those are words from Thomas Myers, famous body worker, rolfer, and structural integrationist. Look him up. He's awesome. See you in a second. Okay, now let's talk about some of the traps you can get into with chiropractic care. Number one, dependence. Okay, dependence. That's why people can get addicted to chiropractic care if they don't do the work on their own to make sure that all of their stresses in their daily life are not diminished by doing exercise, by doing calming, relaxing techniques with their body-mind, and by eating right. The problems are going to keep recurring. The stress is going to keep drawing you into your defensive postures and all of your misalignments and problems. So it's up to you. 100% responsibility lies on you. And if you're seeing someone who's not making you do things, then I would consider doing things on your own so you don't become dependent upon that weekly or that monthly adjustment to get your quote-unquote fix. Because it can turn into chiropractic aspirin if you're not careful. It's more healthy. It's healthier than taking your dose of ibuprofen or your Bayer or your Motrin or your Dones. Much healthier. Okay, if that's going to be if you're going to do that instead of taking a drug, do it. But take the next step. Take some responsibility. Do some stuff for yourself, and have that conversation with your doctor. Say, hey, what can I do on my own here? and he'll open up to you. He's busy, okay? I know. But just talk to him. Guarantee he knows more than what he's letting on, all right? So dependence, that's number one. Next thing, number two, treating the symptom and not the cause. Now, going to a chiropractor, you're already getting more towards the cause, but if you're only getting adjusted and you're only getting treatment where you have pain, that may not be what's causing the trouble. My biggest mentor and biggest teacher, Carol Levitt from Prague, says you cannot chase pain, because if you chase pain, you and your patient are both lost, because if there's an overload happening in the body, for instance, if my back is hurting, and it's because I'm walking improperly, which you're going to learn how to do in a second, it's because I'm walking improperly because I don't have good motion through my hips. If I keep getting my back adjusted, all I'm going to do is make my back hypermobile. So the problem there is you got to fix the hip. You got to fix the motion pattern that has driven that dysfunction into your lumbar spine and into those muscles and caused this overload and this pain. So to get whacked over and over again, week by week, maybe 3 times a week for 6 months, who knows? It's unnecessary if you look upstream a little further, where the stream is just a trickle, rather than trying to fix it under the waterfall where the water's gushing on top of you. Okay? So that's the other thing. You treat the cause, not the symptom. Quit chasing pain. And what's that noise whenever you get adjusted? What's that noise? Is it scary? Does it scare people? Absolutely. People are scared to death of the quote-unquote crack. Okay? By the way, you crack eggs. You don't crack spines. You adjust spines. You mobilize spines. You put movement back into spines. Okay? That's like going to a surgeon and say, hey, you're going to do some skin slitting today? Okay? Think about that next time you say, hey doc, I just need a good crack. Or my doctor cracks me. Well, would you say, well, my surgeon really slit me open there, right? So it's a adjustment, not a crack. Got it? Okay. What makes the sound? Gas escaping from the joint capsules. Pop. You ever take a cork off a bottle? Pop. That's what it is. Inside wherever joints come together, there's a capsule. Inside their capsule, there's gas pressure. Whenever you restore normal joint motion into a joint capsule, pop, you get a release. Okay? It doesn't mean that that was the whole success of the adjustment. It just means that some gas escaped from the capsule. Okay? As you put that new motion back in there, gas escaped. End of story. The goal of chiropractic is to get the motion, to restore normal joint motion so your body and your nervous system can be happy. Another major myth or biggest misconception about chiropractic is that joints always need to be manipulated or mobilized. Sometimes joints are already too mobile. I've had people come into me after years of getting chiropractic adjustments and they're just real clunky. They've become unstable. And what these people need is core stability. They need strength. They don't need to be mobilized. They need to be stabilized. And that takes a keen sense of a good functional evaluation to find out, well, does that need to be mobilized or does this need to be stabilized? A lot of times the hips need to be mobilized and the core needs to be stabilized. So it's not always whacking around on the lumbar spine, okay? Stabilize when it's necessary, mobilize when it's necessary, and don't do too much of the mobility stuff, because you get too much in there, you create the need and the addiction for more. So stabilize, always mobilize when it's necessary. The other common myth about chiropractic that it's all about pinched nerves. It's not all about pinched nerves. Pinched nerves only happen about 10% of the time, and if you got a pinched nerve, you're probably going to have numbness, tingling, or weakness. That's a pinched nerve, or at least potentially a pinched nerve, and not even always that way. Okay? That pinched nerves are compression on the actual nerve, like pinching off a garden hose. If you have pain, if you have restriction of motion, it's because your body is not functioning properly. There's joints not moving correctly. You're having trigger points that have built up in your muscles from improper movement patterns. You've got nutritional imbalances that are causing excessive inflammation in your muscle tissue. Something like that. So it's not a pinched nerve unless, well, I'm not going to say it's never a pinched nerve. It's rarely a pinched nerve. So don't fall into the trap of someone telling you, well, you've just got a pinched nerve. Every time you come in, it's not always a pinched nerve. That's all I had to say about that. Well, as you can see, I was very excited to talk about chiropractic this week. I don't talk about it much because a lot of times when you mention the word chiropractic, people get all these thoughts going through their head. And hopefully today I dispelled a couple of myths and gave you a little more information so you can be more empowered to talk about chiropractic with other people. And make sure you find someone who's going to let you take care of yourself. Okay? That's the big deal. Now, what I want to show you now is I'm going to give you a little peek inside our posture coaching course. Rebecca and I have been working hard on that, and I'm going to give you a little information and a little insider scoop into the course, and we're going to teach you how to walk correctly, and we're going to talk about the moment of the shift and why it's so important whenever you change from one support point to another. It's important to have your core on to eliminate overstrain, stress, and back problems, neck problems, and all that kind of stuff when you walk, because you want to be able to walk for as long as humanly possible. So enjoy the walking section, and thank you for being with me today. I'll see you next time.
Now we're going to learn how to walk again. Surprisingly, I've had a lot of requests for people to say, can you show us how to walk? Well, yeah, I can. And what's interesting and important to know about walking is 80% of it is standing on one leg. So if you want to be a good walker, and if you want to work on your walking skills, and if you want to be able to walk for as long as possible, you need to be able to stand on one leg. That's the first part about walking, is you have to have good balance. The way that we practice this is we do slow motion walking, so we can break down every piece of the walking process and find out where you falter. And I'll guarantee you falter right at that point where we shift from one foot to the other. That important transition point of one support point to another point is the critical piece where you have to have a nice, strong, stable core. I'm going to explain. I'm going to show you. Here we are. I'm going to start taking, and when I say slow motion walking, I'm talking about super duper slow motion walking. Okay? So the first thing you have to do is pick up a leg, okay, and find that point. Now right there, I'm starting to shift my point of transition. And as I do this, again, think baby belly. Think, okay, think push away from my pillars, push away from, go up. If I'm thinking about going that way, I can think about pushing away from my back support zone. Pubic bone comes forward, and boom, the core is engaged, and now I'm able to transition my weight from my back foot to my heel. And if you want a good exercise, all you have to do is be on the ball of one foot and the heel of the other, and work on holding that position right there. That is a tremendous balance exercise and core exercise. And also breathing is what allows us to make this transition happen smoothly. So if you're breathing with a normal core, in and out, cylindrical breathing with good intra-abdominal pressure, this should happen naturally. So it's good to practice that shift. That shift point from one position to the other point is the magic moment where things break down. Now, if you don't have good coordination and stability through there, when you make that shift, what's going to happen is when you take that step, if you don't have good coordination here, it's going to look like this, and the hip's going to go out too far to the side. Okay, you're going to overload your back, and if you don't have your pubic bone forward, you're going to overload your low back. So just walking will overload your back and will overload your flanks, and it'll make you sore. It can cause back pain just walking incorrectly. So practicing that moment of the shift is so crucial, and just staying in that position and breathing is very, very powerful. So slow motion walking is the best way to practice walking. And if you're not quite there yet, and this is just like impossible for you to do, the heel of one foot and the ball of the other, start with just practicing the one leg balance. Okay? And then you can go from there. So that's walking in a nutshell. You just have to be able to balance on one leg and have good core control through the shift.